Hello guys. Hello. Series 3. So, we're just going to crack straight onto it. So there is series 2 and 1 prior to this one. But for a recap, just so you know what's going on, we did flesh colors in series 1. And if you chose to do a little bit of green or underlying yellow, or a little bit of underlying red as well. So they were your, multiple layers of flesh over the top of your initial vinyl. So you've washed the kit, you've done your flesh layers, you've sealed them in the oven. Series 2 was about doing your your yellow features, which we talked about. For instance, on this doll, we did some yellow here, yellow on the nose. We did some blues as well. We did some veining. Again, this is, you can go into so much detail with all this stuff, but I thought let's just keep it, quick and sweet. So now, you would be up to your creases. So your creases, your blushing. So to give you an example, this one, I'm not sure you guys are going to be able to actually see that on the camera. But when we talk about creases, we're talking about all these little lines, okay? And then making these lines stand out. So you end up with, well, you might not be able to actually see her, but she's got, I don't know if you can actually see it, but she's got sort of red tones and creases, and she's got some white flesh there as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of your finer brushes. Okay, let's move the kit out of the way, and then with your thinner, you're going to, I'm trying to see if I've got a red already mixed up. I don't. So let's mix in the red. So when you're using your red colors, oh, this one's funky. Hang on. This is what happens when you got kids. They steal all your stuff and you haven't got your paper towel. All right, we're just going to rough this. So you're mixing in your red, and then you're slowly going over the crease lines. And then I always have my dabber ready to get the excess out. Now, you may be able to see that a bit more. It is going to look a little bit Frankensteinish because you need to do multiple layers. Don't let it build up too much. Keep moving the paint around so you don't get build up. Otherwise, it looks like a cut. And you don't, my cat's going crazy in the background. You don't want it to look like they've hurt themselves, obviously. So the other thing that I sometimes use in the creases, this is, I don't think this is actually what I use, but I normally use like a thickener. It's like a creamy paste stuff. It looks like this. And you can sort of get some out with a brush, and I'll show you sort of the consistency. This one's quite old, so it's a bit rock solid, to be honest. It's almost like this pasty stuff. Put it in there. And then you can pat it down with a little bit of thinner. And what it does is it just thickens up your paint a little bit, so that when you are doing creases, it's a little bit more smoother. So what actually looks like in the tray is just a little bit thickener. It's a bit thickener. It's a bit thicker. And then you can grab your paintbrush, and then you do the same thing. And what you'll find, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it comes out sort of smoother. Because once you start this process, you'll realize the creases are your worst nightmare. Because what happens if you use too much of your normal paint with thinner, it's not an even distribution. So it becomes like mottly and flaky looking, and you don't want that either. So I do tend to use it. These thickeners are not expensive. This jar has lasted me dinosaur years, and there's still 3/4 left. And This bigger jar was probably more expensive, maybe $50. But I was, and I've probably got it somewhere, I was just getting ones this size for that. So you're going to go around all your creases, right? And if you've got excess coming out the sides, again, use your sponge just to get rid of it. And you're just going around all your creases. Now, with the feet, this is sort of optional. I find if you do every crease on the foot, it doesn't look good. It looks like, you know, the ambulance needs to be called. So I tend to do sort of some blue in the middle, and then later on I will actually mix up some, oh, there'll be a lot of different colors I mix up, but some reds later, just with some thinning, what am I talking about? In that, you know, I can't say enamel thinner. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I'll actually go over it. So what I was going to talk to you about today is go ahead and do your creases. Pick and choose what you want to do on your feet and your arms. With the arms, I do the main creases, and then if there's a few creases on here, I do it. With the top of the arm, top of the hand, I tend to do knuckles, and then whatever this part of your hand's called. So I do fine lines in there. But then what I will do is mix up some paint thinner with my red paint. And I will actually dab it on here. I will leave this bare, and then I will do it again on my, why do I keep thinking this is knuckles? Is this knuckles or is this knuckles? I've got two knuckles. Anyway, so I sort of do that. I leave that bare, and then I go here. And the reason I do that is it gives a distinction between, you know, when you close your hands really tight, and then the blood flow goes to here, but it sort of keeps this white. So that's why I kind of do that. And also with the feet, I will go around the bottom and the edge and the top, but I will leave this blank. So I've done a bit of blue in here, back at veining stage, and then I will kind of go around the edge. And what it makes it look like is the toes are crunched, if that makes sense. Also, with blushing, I do the knees. So I'll go around in a circle in the knees. And then if this is still too pale for me, so I've done my blues, I've done my yellows, I've done my creases, it's still looking like, for this is still looking quite bare. Then what I will do is I'll actually mix my red with a very thin amount of paint thinner. I'll use my big brush, squirt it around, and I'll actually go over the whole top. But this is only after I've sealed the layers before, because otherwise what's going to happen is it's going to be a big mush party. So I'll kind of do thin layers until I'm happy with the overall color, and then I will keep doing the layers on the knee. Don't just do big red. Big red's out, right? You've got to build it up. So you've got to build up your knee, bottom of your foot. Another key area that I do is around here. That's another area. I leave this blank, knee red, blank, and then around the ankles, bottom of the foot. Okay, and I do that to sort of give it a bit of depth, because right now, I mean, you can obviously see this doll's not done. Well, oh, there's the cat. Are you right? This cat's crazy. I've never had cats before. I've always had dogs, and this is the grousest cat I don't really have anything to compare it to, but it's human. It literally comes in the morning and says, hello. It's bizarre. He's a grouse cat, and he likes dolls. There you go. All right, back on track. I get very distracted. So again, what you're doing in between these sections, if you're happy with what you've done, then you're going to put it in the oven. You're going to seal it, wait for it to cool off, next layer. I also, with the face, this takes many layers. Don't think all these steps I'm saying is multiple going back and doing your elbows or around the edges here, or the knee. I mean, this takes so long. This is not just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. This is like a long process. And the other part is I do the cheeks in a straight red. Now, if you want, at this stage, sometimes I do, this doll does have it. I don't know if you can see, there's a fine line down here. So you can get your red paint and do fine little dottings down to make it look like, you know, during birth, they've had some sort of incident. Good though. And lips is another thing. This one's lips looks like she's going out Saturday night, and I know that, but I have to sort of work with it. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do yet. So what's happened with this is I've done too many layers, too thick, too quick. So you should be, I normally build up the outside, and you'll find that if you have a doll that has really, like this doll has easy lips because they're quite open, where this doll has crevices, and those crevices, every time you do a layer, the paint moves and sinks into the crevice, and then you seal it, and then you do it again and again, and then you're left with chucky lips. That's why I'm always saying, pat it out. Pat it out, pat it out. So have a go with that. Keep doing your creases, keep doing your blushing wherever you feel like you kind of want to bring the baby to life. With the ears too, I sort of do a bit of red around there as well. Again, we're talking about many layers, okay? So every time you add a layer, you should be questioning whether you can even see it, okay? That's how long this takes. And then, you know, you can also bring in your purples. I do a bit of purple around here. Where else have I done? This one's got closed eyes. I have done a little bit of purple here, and then red, purple, red, or the opposite way around, depending on what kind of look that you want. And then next time we're going to talk about eyebrows. Eyebrows are not my forte. I normally use a brown color, and I normally mix it with something like this, just because using your paint thinner for that, it's, I don't know, I find it hard, but you know, you're kind of painting on tiny little lines and then going over them until you're happy with what you like. But yeah, next time we'll definitely talk about that. Thank you for the comment. It was great to see this subscriber talk about how she's come back after 5 years as well. So just goes to show, you can be gone 5 years, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. All right, as per usual, I'm getting up and walking away. Have a good day, guys.